Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alfina Darmayanti, NIM 202310004 from CIS Education B. I made a learning video this time to fulfill the final assignment for the English course for science, and I will explain about the process of the beauty of aurora. Next. Aurora is a phenomenon in the form of beams of light on the ionosphere layer on a planet that interact with the magnetic field on a planet with particles emitted by the sun. Under it itself, aurora occurs in the northern and southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, it's called the aurora borealis, and in the southern hemisphere, it's called the aurora australis. Aurora does not always appear all year round. However, it only appears in certain months, namely in September, October, and March, April. Answer your question: why do auroras occur and why only the poles of the Earth appear? Okay, come on, let's see why the aurora can occur and why it only exists at the poles of the Earth. In the first, the existence of a place with a high field on a planet is one of the factors for the occurrence of aurora. On the Earth itself, a high magnetic field is found at the North Pole and South Pole of the Earth. That's why there will be no auroras at the equator. However, if it occurs in the equatorial region, it's likely that a large solar storm is occurring so that it can bring up the aurora. And then the second, there is the solar wind, which is in the charge emitted from the corona, which is the outermost part of the sun. The solar wind, or what can be called the solar wind, contains protons that are released because there is a very hot part of the sun called is the sunspot. The sunspots themselves are formed due to convection flows originating from the center of the sun, where the thermonuclear accretion occurs and flows toward the outermost part of the sun called the corona layer. The third, because the high intensity of the convection flow, it will cause the appearance of dark part and cooler at temperatures, so that in the area around the dark area the temperature will increase. Because it continues to happen will cause sunspots to burst, and flames are formed by releasing a charge which is commonly called the solar wind. The fourth, the sun itself has a cycle in which the number of spots on the surface increases every 11 years on average. When that happens, the number of charged particles will increase in size to that it can trigger solar storms that can affect human activities on Earth, such as disruption to telecommunication network and electricity network. Fifth, after being charged with energy coming from the sun to the Earth, it will directly interact with particles in the Earth's atmosphere, and when approaching the center, which is in the polar region, there is a relaxation excitation of electrons, which then cause the formation of colors, beautiful and known as the aurora. Then there are two main gases in the atmosphere that are most influential in the formation of aurora, like 1. Carbon dioxide can produce two main colors of the aurora, namely green and yellow, which has a wavelength of 5577 nm. This color is most commonly seen, and red, which has a wavelength of 630 nm. However, this color is rarely seen through nitrogen. This, which is in the ionized state, will produce a light blue color in the natural state. The nitrogen molecule produces a purplish red color. This aurora can be an indicator to measure the intensity of the solar wind coming from the sun. If the aurora appears longer and brighter, it indicates stronger disturbance of energy from the sun, and this often happens when the sun is at its peak, which happens once every 11 years. Because the aurora is formed from a reaction of particles originating from atmospheric particles on it and is also influenced by the attraction of a magnetic field. The aurora can be seen and formed in areas close to the Earth's poles. In addition, the existing pollution in a place can also affect the aurora can be seen or not. Now, explain from me, and I say thank you.